So guys, welcome back to another video. I'm back in Rhode Island. I'm here with Nick, and then Sam is at the car right now. And today we're doing something a little bit different. We're doing a camera comparison. And as you can see, it is freezing cold out. I'm wearing my gloves, got a hat on. So today we're doing a photo comparison between the Nikon Z6II and then Nick's camera, which is
the Sony A7S3.
And so like I said, we're going to be doing a photo comparison, testing the photo capabilities of both these cameras. But don't worry, we will be talking about the video specs a little bit. And if you want to know more about the video specs, head over to Nick's channel. It will be down in the description below. He's doing essentially a full review of both the cameras, and he's diving deeper into the video specs. So you guys who like the video out there, definitely go subscribe to his channel and check out his video as well. Okay guys, so to start it off, we're going to look at both cameras and kind of what you're getting for the price range and just, you know, the basic stats that you're looking for while you're shopping for a new camera. And so the Z6II comes in at just under $2,000, $1,996, and with that you're getting a 24 megapixel full frame sensor, video capabilities of 4K and 60 FPS in 4K. But you can't do that super slow motion 120 FPS in 4K, but you can do that in 1080p. It has an ISO range of 100 to 51,200 and continuous shooting mode of up to 14 frames per second. And then here we have Nick's camera, which is the Sony A7S3, and this comes in at a big $3,498, so slightly large price difference when it comes to the two cameras. His comes with a 12 megapixel full frame sensor, but here's where it gets amazing. It does 4K 120 FPS, so you get that super slow motion in the amazing 4K quality. It also has a crazy ISO range of 80 as the minimum, up to 120,400. So the ISO range is basically double of the Nikon Z6II. And then it also does 10 frames per second continuous shooting. So we're gonna test out a few of these things, and by doing a few photo challenges. So hopefully you guys can see the difference in the photo quality between the two cameras. The first photo challenge we're gonna do is basically we're gonna do a crop test. So we're gonna take both cameras here, and me and Nick are gonna go find just any photo in the area. We're at a place in Rhode Island called Rocky Point. I believe it was an old amusement park or something like that. Basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a photo and then show you guys the photo at 100% crop. So we're gonna crop it in and show you the quality between the 24 megapixels and the 12 megapixels. Both are really good, and you probably won't even see any difference, but just to show you, we're gonna test that out. So guys, we just basically took the exact same shot for the crop test, and again, the Nikon is 24 megapixels and the Sony is 12. So you might be able to see a little bit of a difference there. And then our next test is going to be the ISO test. So the ISO test that we're doing is we shot both the cameras at the same settings, but we only changed the ISO. We changed it to 3200 because I feel like that's a normal range that somebody will go to when they're out taking photos. And then we went a little overboard and changed it to the super high settings. So the next one that we did was 12,800, and I didn't know this, but it's very cool. Essentially, Sony has it set up where the base ISO, which is 80, has, you know, it's perfectly clear. There's no noise or anything like that. So same with the Nikon at 100, there's no extra noise or anything like that. But Sony actually has a secondary base ISO of 12,800. So the ISO performance between 80 and then 12,800 isn't the best, but once you get to 12,800 on the Sony, it clears up. So we're gonna show those photos on the screen as well. So it'll be the Sony's 12,800 compared to my Nikon's 12,800 ISO. And then the last test that we did was we went all the way to the top. So we went to 51,200 for my camera, and then we went to 102,400 on the Sony. Hopefully you guys will be able to see the comparison there, the quality of the ISO on both cameras. So after talking about the ISO quality a little bit, you actually might not even find yourself using those high ISO settings because both cameras are actually fairly similar in a few different categories. They both have 5-axis sensor shift image stabilization. So essentially another name for IBIS, in-body image stabilization. So instead of your lens having stabilizers inside the lens, the cameras have stabilizers on the sensor. So they both have the exact same sensor stabilization, which automatically helps them both perform well in low light. So you may get away with using lower ISO settings than other cameras. So both cameras having the 5-axis sensor stabilization that will help you definitely in low light photography situations. Say you're out taking wildlife photos, you know, at dawn or dusk, and you're trying to get those photos in the dark. You can get away with using lower shutter speeds to capture sharper images. And another thing regarding the two cameras being very similar is that they essentially weigh the same. I believe the Nikon is about 1.55 pounds and the Sony is 1.54. So they feel exactly the same. They both also are weather sealed, so you can use them in the most rugged conditions. So another thing that's important when it comes to photography is getting different angles and using your LCD screen with the mirrorless camera to see those different angles. So this is one category where the Sony is definitely winning. The Sony has a slightly smaller screen, but it is full 360 tilting. So same as the M50, it flips out and you can use it in selfie mode so you can see yourself in the screen. However, with the Nikon, it only comes out, as you can see, like this. It tilts up and down, so you can get low angles at a horizontal, so you can look down at the camera from above, or you can flip it up and look at it from below, such as a high angle. However, when you're shooting horizontally, you cannot see your screen at all. So that's where I like the Sony better, because it can flip out and you can get those horizontal angles. I found myself a few days ago on a portrait photo shoot and I was trying to get really low down to the snow and I could not get the angle or the composition set up because the screen wasn't tilting. So yeah, it comes in handy. That is where I think the Sony is definitely on top with the screen. So guys, a few major sides to photography for me as an outdoors person, and I use my camera while I'm traveling or hiking. I need good battery life, and then also I use time-lapse photography quite often and long exposures. So regarding battery life, what you're gonna read online about these two cameras is that the Nikon can get 410 shots on one battery charge and the Sony can get 600. So the Sony definitely has a slightly better battery, but keep in mind both those numbers are shooting on the most challenging settings for both cameras. So I've actually been out with my camera a few times and shot over 1,000 photos on one battery charge without having to refill it, and I'm sure Nick has done the same. So Sony definitely has the better battery here, but just for everybody, I would always recommend having an extra battery or two because you never know when you're gonna need extras. So then the one other thing that I did mention briefly there was that I do a bit of time-lapse photography when I'm out in the field. If I just want to capture the entire sunset, maybe turn it into a video or just get a bunch of different photos of the entire sunset. I have not tested this out, but my camera comes with a intervalometer built in, so I don't need to carry an extra cable release or anything like that for my camera to set up a time-lapse. So that's something that I don't think the Sony has, but I will definitely do a full review of that setting on the camera because I really want to get into time lapses more. I love how they look on my YouTube videos, so I think I'm going to do a separate video. Let me know down in the comments if you want to hear more info about the intervalometer and setting up time-lapse photos and long exposures, things like that. So with that being said, let's go test the cameras out a little bit more. Okay guys, so we made it back into the studio here at Nick's house. We're freezing cold outside during the shoot today. Matter of fact, the camera's actually still pretty cold, but I'm just gonna wrap it up here. I talked about all the specs and everything out in the field, so hopefully you got a good comparison of the Z6II and then the Sony A7S3, which is filming right now. And yeah, you get to compare the photo specs. So in conclusion, basically, all cameras nowadays have their own pros and cons. Every camera is kind of different. It's really up to what you need as the photographer and the creator. For me, the Z6II was the perfect mix of affordability and all the photo specs that I needed as a photographer, and it has the ability to do some video, so that's perfect for me. I don't need anything super fancy or anything like that because I'm mostly going to be filming still on my Canon M50. So for people who are interested more in video and you don't want to sacrifice any of that photo quality, I would definitely say the Sony is a great way to go because you get amazing video quality and then you still do get very good photos. And in the end, like I said, it all depends on what you as the creator needs, whether you want more photography-based camera or a more video-based camera. And basically what you need to do is figure out what you like to do as a photographer and then let that lead you down the path of research towards your new camera.